Welcome back to JOJ. It is January of 2022.
First time we said that.
Yeah, hope you joined our live last week. We told y'all the word that we'll be filming is love. Mm-hmm. And then we also drew our word for next month, but we'll worry about that next month in February.
Because we'll worry about obeying. We're not going to obey until then.
No. No, yeah. Obedience.
Yeah.
Or, yes, no.
Yeah.
So for the word love, we've got 4 weeks this month. Mm-hmm. So we've broke them down in 3 kind of categories. And then the fourth one will be a kind of a special couples edition kind of thing. We thought that would be fun.
Yeah. Yes,
leading into, to fill in the 5th week and leading into February, which is Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. The month of love.
Yeah.
But kind of what we thought on this first one was to kind of go through what we named this one was the lifespan of love. Mm-hmm. So kind of how love looks as a child, and having children. I think we were at one point in time we were children. Yes. And then we have children. Yes. So we can kind of, start that off as a child, what that looks like as you grow up a little bit to kind of the twins' age, where they are, and then what that looks like as a teenager. And then as that moves into becoming, a young adult, and then on into parenthood, a seasoned adult, parenthood, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what we thought for this first week would be that we'd kind of go over the lifespan of love. And we'll go ahead and share the verse that we picked out for this one, and it's 1 Corinthians.
Go ahead.
Okay, 13:11, and it says, "When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me." Again, that's 1 Corinthians 13:11. So,
do you have an official definition for love?
Well, we have. Yes. So if you look up the definition of love, you can get a lot of different answers to the definition of love. I guess that means it's hard to define.
Yes.
But the one what we're going to go with is according to the Bible, love is caring in action. Love isn't what we feel, but what we do. Rich Deem introduction to the true meaning of love as defined in the Bible has been corrupted in the common usage of our English language and society. Most often, love is confused with infatuation, that elated high feeling we get when we fall in love. So, love is caring in action is kind of truly the way the Bible
intended it to be.
Intended it to be, but it is. A lot of different definitions out there of worldly love for sure, and we're going to kind of go into that really more in the next week. So, so our lifespan of love, we're looking at when our children were infants. That in some ways is some of the purest form of love. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Because as a infant, toddler, baby, you don't, the love that is pretty much what you experience. Mm-hmm. So, you don't grow up just hating. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just like you're kind of taught love.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. But yeah, it's pure. They don't see any, wrong. They don't see wrinkles or hair or gray. I mean, they just don't. Like, children just genuinely, when they say I love you, they mean they love you.
Yeah.
For you, not for anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you are their person. You're their rock. You're their. Some of that probably comes because they know in some ways you're their sustainer and you help them, what they need on a daily basis. As being a loving parent to them, but their love that you get back in return, it's unmerited in a lot of ways. I mean, it doesn't require a lot from us, for a child to love you in return. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yep. And as a child, your love is, you don't, I guess, I'm thinking of different, it's just like it's there. It's not something you have grown to come. Like, you know what I mean? Like because as adults, like, love to us is totally different than what the meaning to a child.
I think it gains
and like
layers.
Their understanding, yeah.
It's
I
like
guess is
it's like it gains layers the older you get. You know, it's like you put on another layer. Sometimes maybe that's a wall or a guard, but you gain another level of depth of that love the older that you get, and you know, through life experiences, whether it's good things or bad things, and you know, you see people who are there for you through something that is difficult. The amount of love that you gain for that person, or it's just somebody that you spend a lot of time with. You know, somebody that you know, maybe that's a grandparent or whoever that you end up being around a lot of time, and you're you know, where maybe this grandparent you're with a lot of time and this one you're not, and you know, it's easier to have a deeper connection with that person than it is someone that you don't spend as much time with.
Yep, and then you kind of grow up and become teenagers.
And that is that becomes a.
I'm not going to say
time.
that's necessarily love. It's not that it's not, but it's more emotional.
It is
more
exactly what that we read at start. It's that infatuation and that falling in love feeling.
Yes. Yeah, that's just teenagers, I guess you can say.
That's country music, and which I'm not putting down on country music. I mean, but that's that feeling that is promoted,
the highs and the lows, and the just
absolutely,
which is, you know, that's which the word, which I guess I'm trying to not go into too much of what next week is. That's the hard part, because that kind of comes back into the worldly love. But yeah, I mean, I think just in general, teenagers, whether it's love or friendship or with their parents, grandparents, like teenagers just feel a lot harder and a lot more. You know, you got crazy hormones, you've got highs, lows, and you know, in this world, you've got so much comparison. So they just feel harder. Like, and that's, you know, I think I tell Abby all the time, I'm like, I promise you, in the big grand scheme of things, like, this will be so little compared to what you're going to, you know, experience in life.
It's such a transition period because they have come from that very simple layer of love.
And I think they learn that the world, like, people are mean. Like, you know, like their view has changed, and that they have like this picture perfect love, I think would be a good
that they think is out there.
Yes.
That they see it in their mind on a Hallmark movie or wherever. But yeah, they've come from that very simple place of
to reality
of really true love of you know, of what, you know, the way a parent is hopefully supposed to love a child.
I'd say just pure clean love.
There you go. Yeah. That's a better way to put it. Into, you know, the infatuation with you know, with somebody else their own age, and how surface love, that how much of that can absolutely be, and it is. Then it becomes reality of I love you, I love you, I love you, but then they do something that's not very nice to them. Yeah. You know, so.
And I don't love you so much.
Yeah, but you know, they were in love.
Yes.
You know, so they realized just how mean people can be at that point in time. So.
And not just in relationships and friendships.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, across the board. You know, then you become young adults, and your mindset starts changing of more or less, you know, maybe you're looking, you know, for somebody to marry, that kind of love, and you know, and
that's where our oldest daughter's at right now. Not really our daughter, but might as well be. Young sister.
Oh, you're talking about Hannah. I thought you were talking about Abigail wanting to get married at 16.
No. No.
Anywho, that's just a real glimpse into our life. Yeah. Yes, Hannah, our precious Hannah. She's still sweet too. Yeah. She's past. We didn't have to raise her in the teenage years.
No.
But yes, that's, you know, she's more on the path of, you know, finding someone that she can settle down and be married to. So that's, you know, a whole different love there.
Yeah. One other thing I want to touch on before we close is kind of that, you know, once you have that child, your first child, that level, that depth of love that you gain at that point in time it's got to probably be second to only us being married. I mean, you know, in my opinion, because you really fully grasp kind of the full cycle of it at that point in time of having been a child, of having grown up, of having met someone, falling in love, getting married, all those things. And then actually, you know, having this life, having this person that now it's our job, it's our responsibility to raise up, and trying to make the best decisions you can doing that along in the process. But because then to me, I look at it, and I don't want to get too much into the next ones, but compare that as a parent to what God did with His only Son. Just can't even.
I say it 100 times over. I would not take Parker. Like I would not volunteer him for that, unless I would hide him.
Yeah. So that's. But
yeah, it is. It makes you think when you have your own child, and then and I think too with maturity, like, you know, and like we said with children, it's like so innocent. Like, you know, all 3 of our kids were saved young, and so like to them, it's like kind of like the whole, you know, they believe without seeing. Like they just trust it. They know that God is there. And then as you get older, you know, unfortunately, I think it's pretty common as teenagers, you know, you want to rebel, and your natural sin is just telling you you don't want God. And I mean, you honestly have to fight for Him.
Absolutely.
I feel like, and just, you know, keep staying rooted in that. But then as adults, when you come around and you start having your own kids, and you start really thinking, you know, I love this person and this little person we've created this much. Like, you know, you just put it in comparison of how much God loves us and how much He loved His only Son. And it's almost overwhelming, I think, you know, and you grow. And I feel like as an adults, we grow more into God's love every day. And, you know, and just.
Yeah. And that makes it, I'll be honest, it makes it hard for me to reason with a teenager because I look at it as so much, hopefully most of the time, as eternal thoughts, you know, of it's not about it doesn't matter what they said to you at school today. I mean, it's so hard for me to reason with some of that stuff because it doesn't matter. I mean, it's so minuscule, but yet in their life at this moment, it is important, and it does matter.
It's very big.
It's a big deal to them. It's really not, but it is to them. So it's hard for me to reason with and to probably be as sympathetic as I should. But
this will be perfect for the final episode of our Enneagrams.
And this will all make sense. All right, so the verse again for this week is 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me.
It's 1 Corinthians 13:11.
Yeah.
Yep. So join us next week, and we'll be talking about the difference of worldly love compared to Christ's love.
Yeah. See y'all then.